All right, welcome everyone. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining the inaugural Summertime Learning Series that Edgewood Brooklyn is offering the public on a variety of topics that are in the hearts and minds of people everywhere. This month, we're going to start off by discussing issues in workforce development and what's going on in the arena of employment, primarily in DC and in the surrounding jurisdictions. In July, on July 13th, we'll be discussing education and school-based topics. And then in August, we'll be talking about housing and the status of housing in the district. I'm joined by the workforce development team at Edgewood Brooklyn Family Support Collaborative, Stefan Henderson and Crystal Ferguson. I would like to notify everybody, let everyone know that this is actually Edgewood Brooklyn Family Support Collaborative's 25th anniversary, serving the residents of the District of Columbia, primarily residents in wards 5 and 6, but definitely we have a citywide reach in several of our programs, helping adults navigate government systems, receive benefits, navigate the school systems, move from homelessness to stabilization, move from unemployment to employment. And with that being said, I will now turn over to Crystal and Stefan, who will introduce themselves. And
How's everyone feel? Great day. My name is Stefan Henderson. I am one of the resource specialists slash job coaches at Edgewood Brooklyn.
Thank you, Stefan. Crystal?
Hello, I'm Crystal Ferguson. I am the Senior Resource Specialist with the Employment Riser program. I too am also one of the job coaches that assists with helping our clientele with finding a job and furthering their education.
All right, thank you. So we're going to jump right in. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and I will go to your questions as appropriate. So talking about employment, primarily in the District of Columbia, I know I personally am hearing a lot of conflicting information. Are jobs hiring? Are they not hiring? Are people going back to work? Are people remaining unemployed? Can you please sum up for us exactly what is going on to the best of your knowledge in employment in DC? And that's to either one of you.
Sure. And I get the conflict and and information is because of the uncertainty. We were hit by something last year that nobody expected. And so, the indicators and those people who are trying to get a grasp on projecting job growth across the country, not just DC, one of the things, they're being reticent about is because we don't know. Another thing that's impacting, that growth in the market is the number of people who are willing and ready to go back to work. What I mean is there are a lot of people who are still not sure. There are a lot of people, who are fearful, for lack of a better word, of going out. So, right now as jobs and offices and departments are beginning to do that slow return to work, people are pretty much, waiting to see. And so because of that, because of employees, sort of looking back, trying to find out and figure out what's going on, employers are doing the same thing. So the conflicting numbers are basically because people don't know what's going to happen. And so they're still a little fearful about congregating, getting back together, face-to-face type of interaction, if that makes sense.
To piggyback on what Stefan is saying, that is absolutely true. Something else that's going on is that people don't know is that, yes, jobs are hiring, but some of them are not, they are not broadcasting it or advertising like we're hiring. It's called the hidden job market. So a lot of these jobs that are hiring, instead of getting fluctuated, like some of the jobs, they may get just hypothetically 250 resumes per day, hypothetically. Whereas now, a lot of people is unemployed, they getting like 500 to 600 per day. So there's a lot of people don't know about it, but it's a lot of hidden job markets that's going on where it's like more so with like word of mouth, networking, job referrals, versus um going online to the Indeed, like the jobs that we know that's for sure is hiring, like the 7-Eleven, the CVS's, the Walgreens. Yes, like no questions asked. But even for the entry level, um, people that's either graduating high school, graduating college, there's a decline in being able to be able to get hired. So it's like you have to be able to come up with strategies that will be able to work for you.
And if
And
I could
knowing
add,
how to be able to be technology set, like, you know, when we before pre-pandemic, we did phone interviews sometimes, and most of the time, majority of the time, it was face-to-face interviews. Versus now, it's it's like it's coming like I say the dinosaurs, the ancient. Like now, it's like it's more common for you to say, can we have a can we schedule a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet meeting or a Teams meeting, because that's the new norm now, and this is definitely going to stay around for a while, because people found that it was it it worked, and it was easier.
I wanted to add something. I just thought when you were talking, Crystal, is that it's adding to the competition. So, you know, even though the Washington, D.C. area, you know, is its job market is very competitive, because we're not just talking about, you know, people who live in D.C. that are a part of the job market, but also Maryland, Northern Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and other places. So it's already competitive, but it's become more and more competitive now in the job market because of some of those factors. And you know, we know what the impact was on, you know, people that are entering into the job market, you know, from college and from high school, because those those demographics were hit pretty hard, you know, because of a lot of things that were going on. No graduations, no proms, no different things like that, and so they're pretty unsure. You know, adding to an unsure job market, you have this unsure these job seekers, so to speak. So it has become more and more competitive, you know, in a already competitive market.
During the pandemic, what job areas do you think were hit the most for the population you work with? Where were people suffering from unemployment?
A lot of
Go ahead, Crystal.
I'm sorry. A lot of people, it was the top five that was impacted was the airlines, the oil and gas, apparel and retail, the home furnishing stores and retail stores like Centers, Aaron's, Ashley's, casinos and gaming. Like those were some of the hard hit that was impacted by the pandemic. Because fewer people started, you know, a lot of people had to cancel flights, and people stopped flying, you know, because we was learning as we go. So um oil and gas, people wasn't driving. A lot of people was doing work remotely if they didn't get laid off. And of course, like apparel and retail, it went from Amazon and took their place. You know, the Macy's and the JC Penney's and Burlington Coat Factories and stuff like that. It was more so either had to pick up with the times or get taken over by Amazon, because Amazon got hit. Amazon, Fashion Nova, Under Armour, all the ones that we were able to mail to you. You know, I mean, you can be able to mail to you. They business and their clientele picked up. And of course, nobody wasn't buying furniture or, you know, trying to fix up their house. They trying to cope with this new way of living, the new norm. And so, and casinos, nobody wasn't going, because of course the crowds, you couldn't, you know, it was what, 25 people. So they wasn't able to be able to gamble.
And if I could say something, as far as our, clientele, most of them are in, jobs that, retail, um, hospitality, customer service, those, types of jobs where, you had to be interacting with other people. So because of the social distancing, all the different things that happen, the stay at home orders, all these different things, those industries were hit the hardest. And so, the bulk of our clientele work in those industries. So right now, those are the things, that are suffering. They did suffer, and they're sort of slow to come back. So I agree with Crystal. One of the things that I noticed was that there was an increase in delivery services. If you notice, always it just seemed like they ran all the time. Delivery services like Amazon, UPS, Federal Express, Uber Eats, right? And so, because a lot of people were started to, do what? E-commerce, begin to purchase online. And so, those impacted those jobs where normally you had that face-to-face, especially in retail. So, even with that, being starting to trend upward, it's still pretty slow. And so those one of the things that we as far as my job and Crystal is concerned, is to begin to talk to those that are our participants about patience, and about flexibility. And I know that we'll get into that a little bit in the session.
Before I go to my next question, I want to once again welcome those who have joined us. As I mentioned earlier, this is our inaugural launch of the Tuesday Talk Summer Learning Series. And I was just notified that you may not be able to submit questions via chat to me. However, I will make sure I provide my email address. So if anyone has any follow-up questions or concerns, you can email me. And please bear with us as we work out, like a lot of people work out technology challenges in this new normal. My next question is, I know that the two of you work primarily, the population you work with is primarily entry-level workers, those with, I'll say, minimal education, maybe high school diploma, perhaps some technical or four-year college exposure. What advice have you given them? What guidance have you given them over the last year as they face challenges with some of the typical jobs they may go after: security, food service, retail, even some aspects of healthcare where companies weren't hiring? So, what kind of guidance were you providing people? And what kind of guidance are you providing now that some employers have picked up and hired? What are you telling your population?
Well, I'll sort of pick up where I ended a few minutes ago. One is being flexible, being open. Okay, the flexibility comes in with learning new skills, being open to learning new skills, being open to taking temporary work. Okay, being open, and patient as things come back slowly. So one of the things that we know is super important, in this new, you say this new normal. Actually, it is the normal now. Is that to be credentialed, to have some specificity. So when I say that, being a specialist, being an authority, those kind of things are going to be, because of the competition. You want to stand out more so than ever. Now, jobs that are coming back, where as people begin to trickle back and congregate more, are those jobs that are pretty much germane to this area, which are connected to tourism. As Crystal talked about, casinos, those things are starting to come back. Come back. Games, sporting events. So the Nationals Park, things like that. Those are coming back. But the key thing that I've been just talking to my clients about is just being patient, being willing to retool, and be willing to learn new skill sets. So the whole thing is really being flexible, being open, and just being willing, to try something new. Try something new. I know a lot of people have had certain skill sets that you've, depended upon, all these years. You may have to shift because, those skill sets might be germane to a job or an industry that is, it may be very slow to come back or not come back at all.
Thank you. Crystal, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of what Mr. Henderson just said, one of the things that I try to do like the help the client with like their credential evaluations, and letting them know like, hey, if you had this certification or going back to school, this would help you be able to, keep up with our new norm. Another thing that I found interesting with the entry level jobs is that the entry level jobs, like more so when we went into the office, they're like 12, we like 12 jobs or 12 careers that when you go in the office, now they are going to remote to it being remote jobs. And um one of them is a accounts receivable specialist. They are now going remote. The Caroline Registered Nurses On-Site Solutions, where like, now when you go to your therapy appointment, you don't even go to your therapy appointment no more. It's Zoom or a link that they send you that they might have for their business. Sales development representatives, now it's a phone call and having a phone call and doing Zoom. So the QA data engineer, the contact tracers, virtual workshop producers, customer service advocate, support advocate. These are the jobs where they were entry level, but you go in. Now they telling you like, no, we don't even need you to come in. We need you to do this from home. We need you to work remotely. And if you do come in 2, maybe 3 days a week. That's it. Because they also realize that it cut the cost. It cut the cost for them where versus you being in the office 5 days a week. Oh, wait, we saving money. So anywhere we can save money because we lost money during the pandemic, we need to try to compensate or try to fill in the gaps or fill in pieces in that's kind of rough around the edges that we trying to build back up. So, our normal jobs that where we can normally go in with entry level and try to work our way up. Now that's turned remote. So it's like we need to be able to, like you say, adjust, be flexible, be open-minded, and also definitely try to expand your career, get some type of credentials. The more credentials you have, the more you open yourself up for the market.
I want to add something. I heard it. It was either on WTOP or I know it was a radio show that I kind of, I don't know why I was surprised, but it said that the DC area led the nation in remote jobs, and so that was interesting that, this area, with as diverse population that it is actually leading the nation when it comes to remote workers. And so one of the things that, I encourage participants, there used to be a thing called phone etiquette when you were answering the phone and, they say you could always hear a smile through the phone, that sort of thing. Now your phone etiquette, has now blossomed into Zoom etiquette or, virtual etiquette. So that's super important now, not only, being able to speak and communicate, clearly and concise and professionally, but your look, right? Your look, because people can now see you. So, those things are, important, enhancing your communication skills and your presentation skills, your customer service skills now are on full display in a virtual environment.
And that leads me actually to two different questions. Um, First of all, I know working with the two of you over the last 15 to 16 months, both of you have had participants who asked about remote jobs and jobs working from home because they could not work um, physically. They couldn't leave the house because of family obligations, concern for their health. But I know in many instances, the population that were asking for these remote jobs did not have the required skill set to work a remote position because a good number or majority of remote positions are more white collar, administrative type of positions. Can you expand upon that and how kind of what you encountered with people requesting work from home positions?
Well, one of the things, call centers, call centers have been have grown. So the skill sets that you might require, in other remote jobs where sort of quote unquote white collar, call centers are one that I believe that our population can develop the skill sets in order to be able to do that. Because most times call centers give you a script, they give you log sheets, they give you different things. If you're able to do some data entry and follow a script, then you can pretty much be successful in that. One of the other things also, it just dawned on me, is the requirements, as far as equipment is concerned. So I know I ran into this with one of my participants where they needed a certain type of laptop, okay, and a certain type of connectivity. So we want to make sure that those types of requirements are met as well. So it's still an adjustment. Even though we've been in this thing over a year, from as far as remote work is concerned and working from home, telework and things like that. But as I noted, the DC area is one of the largest, when it comes to remote work opportunities. So the thing is definitely, increase your skill sets, look for those jobs that, don't require you to have a college degree, so to speak, but like I said, call center jobs, Crystal mentioned contact tracing, those jobs, those things like that. Those are now on the decline, however, because as more people are getting vaccinated and, the numbers of COVID, cases are going down, a lot of those jobs that were, pretty much tied to, cases, are starting to wane off, but, still some remote jobs that are available.
And actually, Crystal, I'm gonna direct the next question to you. Both of you referenced a couple of minutes ago the need for people to upskill or reskill and kind of retune and enhance their skills, attain credentials, certifications, et cetera, to increase their marketability. So, can you share with us what your approach has been in getting people to invest in themselves regarding their skill set?
Some of the things that I did, I have this is like a mini little questionnaire, and we go over it. I go over it with them together. We go over it together, and the questions are, okay, I know you want to do this, but why? I ask them their whys, and yeah, a lot of the whys, yes, is because of my children, but I get them to understand that it's deeper than um it's deeper than just with just I'm sorry. It's deeper than just trying to like, oh, I want a job I want to do this job. I want to do this job. It's more so I tell them find your passion and let's go from there. Let me help you find your path, whatever you passionate about, whatever you want to do, versus what you like. Okay, I just want a job. It's better for you to do your passion and find a skill set and go to school off with what you want to do with your passion, because guess what, you can elevate and you can move forward. It's not just a job, it's more of you doing something that you love, that you want to do, and you won't be going to like job to job to job to job to job, especially with the market the way it is. It's trying to um you know increase as far as like putting people back to work, but we still not there yet. So it versus, okay, it might take you 9 months hypothetically to do medical assistant, and you do something in home health care aid, with as a home health aide. So you working your way up, but there's levels to it. So yeah, you might start at the beginning as a home health aide, or to a CNA, and a CNA to a medical assistant. But hey, that's what you have to do to be able to market yourself and be able to make a livable, comfortable wage.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to do a slight transition and kind of move from the employment topic to entrepreneurship. So I know even pre-pandemic, this country had become more of a gig society. A lot of people were moving away from having a full-time, part-time job to contract work, side hustles, working on their hobbies, starting their own business. And I know recently, Edgewood Brooklyn has begun helping people with entrepreneurship and starting their own business. Could either one of you talk about that and why people have decided to pursue entrepreneurship versus employment?
Sure. One of the key indicators is, if you look at what's going on in the market, and what's really pushing the market, what has happened is that baby boomers who used to be, have the buying power in the country, that buying power has shifted to millennials. Okay. And millennials have a whole different skill set, a whole different outlook when it comes to career, when it comes to jobs, and when it comes to entrepreneurship. So, they are ones who, begin to create these, this sort of gig type of society. They're influencers. They're, all these type of things that on social media. So they're utilizing social media. They're utilizing the internet to begin to generate income, through, entrepreneurship. Um, one of the key things that I look at, and I follow trends. And so, when you talked about the gigs, there are certain sites like Upworks and Fiverr.com where people can go on. They do different things. You can create websites. You can, I mean, even do resume services, different things like that, where set there on these sites, and people come to, like I said, Upworks or Fiverr, looking for specific gigs. And then, you let them know what your services are. You put a little portfolio on there, and then you just go from there. Other things is that people are creating subscription services, okay, which will provide what we call residual income. So you can, every time somebody gets a subscription, it's a monthly subscription, and every time that month goes by, it charges whatever the fees are. Again, we talk about utilizing your skill sets, utilizing your knowledge, being an influencer, being someone of an authority. What's growing now as what we call online classes, online courses, creating a course. And most people don't think that they know enough, but you'd be surprised, at what because of your your experience level, what things that you have encountered, could be something that somebody is looking for. So, be open to, being a knowledge broker, basically is what they're doing. So there's a lot of different things, that when it comes to entrepreneurship, that is really taken off. But I would say, follow, what's going on with millennials, follow what's going on and trending on, Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. You see what, people are doing. The other thing, when I go back to baby boomers, with the baby boomer generation, health, health services, so jobs like, I'm just going back to, certain things. If you can, create something that is going to aid baby boomers. Baby boomers want to live longer. They want to live healthier. They, all these different things like aesthetics, how they look, staying in shape. So if you can create something, that is going to address a need of baby boomers, you can pretty much start a business.
Crystal, did you have anything to add with entrepreneurship?
No, he pretty much said it a mouthful. Keeping up with the trends. You know, looking at like once you do start your business, looking at your like how much traffic, what you need to do as far as to try to grow your business. Um, that social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, all of those are like a big key, but you want to keep, then it's like once you do create a presence, you want to keep up the momentum and keep up the traffic, because honestly, they're gonna personally look at your social media 10 to 20 times before they even decide to even purchase from you. Um, so just making sure and then not trying to create something that you can't deliver. Don't do that, because it definitely will come back and backfire on you. So you know that just piggybacking off what Mr. Henderson said, definitely like the social media trend. That's definitely. I mean, online. And as a business owner, I'm not. They call me every day. Well, how can we help you with your Google ads? And they want to do this, and then fire Bing and Yahoo, and some things I never heard of, but that this is it's trending. It's trending, and it's coming fast. And if you can't keep up with it, you fall behind the wayside. And that's how you kind of get kicked out the box, the little box that you were in. You get kicked out because you wasn't able to keep up with the new trend, or the new way of living, or the new norm.
That's something that you reminded me of. As things go and are sort of driven by social media presence. Here's the thing that I would say: understand that people's attention spans, even though it was about like this, it's gotten to be like that. So you have to get whatever message you out. You have to be straight to the point and get it out quickly. And again, follow up. And you have to continue to post content. You have to continue to post content. One of the things that I also noticed, because Crystal is a mom, right? Crystal's a mom. She's dealing with, still, children in the house. Here's the thing that I want people to know, that going back into school, we're still going to be doing some online learning. There'll still be, maybe hybrid, types of things. But if people can say start an online tutoring service, okay? Because a lot of students, what they saw, they fell off, right? On a national basis, they begin to fall off. So if you can do something, to where you are now providing tutoring services, educational aids, things like that, that's going to be something that's going to uptick. Also, don't let what's going to happen in the summer, get you down, because normally the job market and everything sort of goes down in the summer anyway. Why? Because a lot of people are going on vacation. Hiring managers, all those kind of people, they're going on vacations. So you'll see a little lull, and it'll probably pick up around September. But just be prepared, for how schools and schooling is going to move forward. So if you can provide services like that, I'll say this: if you're a mom, right, and you've gone through this whole thing as a mom, if you would encounter some situations and issues, and you thought about, hey, I wish I had this, or this would make my life a lot easier, capitalize on that idea, because other people are, went through the same thing and experiencing the same thing as well.
Stefan, thank you for bringing up school, and I'm gonna use that as a good reminder to remind people that our next Tuesday talk session is July 13th, and that is our topic in July is education and what DC public school system will look like in the fall. As we wind down and come to bring this to a conclusion, I'm going to ask both of you to, for a minute, to kind of be prophets, and please forecast for us what do you see happening? What do you see any future trends, especially in the fall? I think in certain areas we're at a peak right now because of, it's summertime. But what do you see happening in employment, workforce development, even in entrepreneurship? Let's say 6 months from now.
I would say just start watching what happens at the end of September, as things pick up. I believe, though, the key indicators still are going to be, industry or jobs in the healthcare industry. I would, if you are a home health aide or, CNA, things like that, don't get discouraged, because I think that there's going to be, an uptick in those kind of positions. Retail is going to be especially face-to-face retail is going to struggle against what is happening, with with Amazon, and Amazon has a competitor, which is Walmart.com. It's not, a true competitor, because Amazon offers a whole lot more in a different array of things. But, those kind of things I would watch. Here's how I tie entrepreneurship into what's happening in retail. There's a thing called affiliates, okay? Affiliate marketers. And what affiliates do is they contract with the likes of Amazon, Walmart.com, any major retailer that has an online presence. And what they do is basically they drive traffic to those websites. They create their own website or ways to drive traffic through Facebook ads, things like that, and you get a percentage, right? You can get pay per click, which means every time somebody clicks on the link, you can get paid for that. There's so many different ways you can get paid by being an affiliate. But I think that you want to get get on board with what's happening with e-commerce. Even if you don't have your own product, you don't have your own website, so to speak, you can really make some nice income by being an affiliate in for one of those e-commerce giants.
I agree with you, Stefan. I also feel like within the next 6 months, it's gonna be more hybrid type work, so that the me being a mom, that was one of my challenges, is being a mom and being a school teacher at the same time. So I do feel like it's gonna be more hybrid for like new jobs, and you definitely like being way more flexible. If you wasn't open-minded before pandemic, you definitely got to get open-minded now, because there are different trends, and that they're saying, like, I also see like employers are going on LinkedIn to find people, so yeah, we do Indeed or Monster or something like that, but it's like LinkedIn is another social media platform, but for employers. So using your social media, not just for personal use, but for business use. Like you said, creating a business profile. Again, keeping yourself open, or networking, being able to network with the people. So finding, or looking in your contacts, who can you contact, or who do you know that do whatever, and something of your interest, and contacting them and say, hey, I'm looking for employment in this. Is it possible? Do you know anybody? Somebody always knows somebody. So just keeping an open mind and networking, using social media platform, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn. And if you do use social media, watch what you put on there. Watch what you put on there. Or if you do, create another account to where, create an account that is for business purposes only. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to sell yourself, but also be able not to you don't want to sell yourself short. because you might do meet the criteria, but they look on your profile and they don't see too much going on, or they see too much going on. They're like, next person, because like it's hundreds and thousands of people that's applying to the same position that you're applying for. So, learning about these hidden job markets, whether it's networking, resourcing, use your resources to your advantage, and educate. The number twin is making sure you get some credentials underneath your belt so that you can be just as marketable as the next person. Because when you get your credentials, you are susceptible and more vulnerable to be able to get hired with an employer versus just entry level, not having anything at all. So that's what I think will be happening in the next 6 months.
Yeah, and and I agree. I like you said hybrid. Hybrid is going to work two ways. So if you focus on entrepreneurship, you want to also have some 9 to 5 or some type of employment to supplement that, and vice versa. If you are looking to in the job market, you're going to need some gig to supplement what you're doing as well. So that hybrid is going to work both ways. I think that you're absolutely right when it comes to the forecast. Hybrid, situations are going to be, huge and necessary because the competition with those that are coming out of high school, those that are coming out of college, those who have begun to settle in downtown DC, where there is this cluster, and as you go out from the epicenter, those jobs become less available, and also the wages tend to go down as well. Okay, so people who are normally making low wages are not living in the district because it's just gotten too expensive. So now they're on the peripheral, okay, where there are even less jobs. So not only are there less jobs, but those jobs that are there, they pay less. So there's a lot to, is going to be considered. We can't be, I wish we had a crystal ball, right? But it's just so much uncertainty that's going on. But I think that as we begin to transition back into the workplace, we'll begin to see some things as people begin to travel more. Industries that are the tourism industry, the hospitality industry, those industry which is the largest in the DC metropolitan area, are going to trend upward, but it's going to be slow. And not to mention that Northern Virginia now has become the technology hub. Okay, so technology jobs are going to be super important. So if you are already in that realm, you do some programming, cybersecurity, things like that, those jobs are going to trend upward as well, because as far as the West Coast, the East Coast is concerned, North Virginia is probably, Silicon Valley.
Crystal Ferguson, Stefan Henderson, thank you both. Dynamic, phenomenal employment specialists who have each helped dozens of DC residents find gainful employment and are now actively working to helping people start their own business. I would like to thank everyone who attended today, our first Tuesday talk. And we will work out the kinks so that people can put questions in the chat. If anybody does have any feedback, any questions, comments, please feel free to email me. My name is Scott Perry. My email address is sperry, SPERRY, at ebfsc.org. That's sperry at ebfsc.org. Please look forward to getting more communication from us over the next few months, as we have several events lined up to acknowledge and celebrate our 25-year history in Washington, D.C., helping families and individuals better their lives. I also want to give a special acknowledgement to John Campbell, president of Funded Strategies, who made today's event possible. And also want to thank the United Planning Organization that provide the funding for our employment program. Once again, thank you everyone for joining, and look forward to seeing you on July 13th at 1 o'clock as we talk about education in schools. Have a great day.